Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
We thank the Most High for another Shabbat, allowing us to come out and fellowship together, and we just thank the Most High for how He's protecting us from all hurt, harm, dangers, seen and unseen. You know, we're living in trying times, and now we understand that we have something to be appreciative about, being that, so much civil unrest is taking place, and, we as the people during these times, we have to be careful, because especially our men, because there's been an environment created now to, officers have fear, the citizens fear the officers, and now we just have civil unrest, and we just need to pray and, continue to ask the Most High to lead, guide, and direct us, and help us to stay in our right mind and, make the right decisions when we're in these circumstances. You know what I'm saying? Because, Israel, we can't afford to forget where we are. He said, I'm going to send you a place in the land of your enemies. And that's just what he means. I don't care how much we come amongst nations and all, and how much we intermingle with them. You might work with some decent people, but the powers that be, you ever notice, like when we go back to the scripture around the time of the Mashiach, how it wasn't the people that were against them, the common people, it was those that were in power, the politicians and all, because they're the one who has the authority to control. They do the dirty work. So we as people, we have to see the importance of, you have to know where you are, and you have to pick your battles. When these people say comply, you need to comply. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Some of these situations that our people have been placed in, they didn't have to go that far. And I'm not going to say that, there's a couple of incidents where it seems like the young men were complying. You know what I'm saying? And, you have Shaitan, he's going to get in the mix of things, but just learn how to, pick your battle, know when to say something, know when to bridle your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
But the proverb says, even a fool is kind of wise when he bridles his tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to know where you are and understand where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because, this system is set up to protect the system. Don't think they put these cops and stuff in jail, because they're not. Because they're upholding, protecting the system that they are placed in position to protect. And so it's one of those things where we have to be mindful of where we are, what we're doing, and what we say, because, it puts us in imminent danger.
Mm-hmm.
They shoot because they feel like they're in imminent danger. No. But we're born in imminent danger. You know what I'm saying? When you come out of the womb, you are a threat already. And especially men. And you have to see the pattern to understand what's going on. Because, when we came out of Egypt, what was the number one solution to destroying Israel? Killing the men.
Mm-hmm.
The firstborn, kill the men. You kill the men, you cut off the nation. When Mashiach was born, what was the decree? Kill the first, kill all the firstborn. You kill the men, you cut off the nation. And so we have to understand what is going on. And if, these are just prophecies being fulfilled. When we go back to Psalms 83, it said,
Mm-hmm.
keep not thy silence.
Well,
What is that? Keep not thy silence.
silence, O Elohim.
And he says that those that hate thee, they have lifted their heads up against thy hidden one. They said, come, let us cut them off from being a people, that the name Israel be no more in remembrance, that they should be a nation anymore.
That's right.
So that's what you're seeing. He said the nations are confederate against thee.
Yep.
And we don't understand how strong and how powerful that is with the message that he's giving. He said the nations are confederate against thee, or the Most High's people. Y'all don't find it strange how we've been here longer than anybody? We're still on the bottom. We still haven't received reparation or anything. Anybody that's come from any other nation, don't they help them to get here, give them loans and stuff, set them up in business and everything. You know why? Because you go back to Psalm 83, he said the nations, they are confederate. Y'all know what Confederacy is?
Yep.
Yeah, it's just a conglomerate or a unification or of nations.
Right. And that's
They all
what. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'll say
No, I was going to say also in that same scripture, he said they have taken crafty
he said
counsel.
they take crafty counsel
Right.
against your people.
Exactly.
He said, they said, come, let us cut them off for being a nation, that the name Israel be no more in remembrance. And that's what they did. That's why we got to come out here every Shabbat to tell you you're Israel. They have to keep pounding it and keep pounding it until you know who you are. This thing has to be instilled in you. Because you know what, if you don't keep that fresh in your mind, you'll drift back off to what you come out of. You ever notice that they tell you they want you to forget about what happened to you? They want you to remember the Holocaust.
Yeah.
They want you to remember Pearl Harbor every year.
That's
But
right.
they want to take what happened to you and take it out of the history books and call it something else. Or why were you living in the past? We can't move forward because y'all keep looking back. But he told us to look back. He said, forget not the former things.
That's right.
They want you to, but you can't. Because when he come and break these nations, he said he's going to beat them in the powder. You have to understand why he's doing what he's doing. That's why they create all, I'm going to get into this, y'all. That's why they create all these movies to desensitize you. When they make,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, it's out.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's out and over now. But
Oh, okay. I'm waiting.
you see these moving like they have these aliens coming to attack, but you notice all the time they want to come together is when they feel threatened. Then they want you to unify with them. But outside of that, they don't teach unity.
That's right.
But see, the thing what that is, you have to watch what's been going on in these movies, because they know when the Mashiach returns, he's coming with the army. And if you don't know who you are and what's going on, this is why he says separate yourself. You have to know who you are. You know why? Because when he returns, if you don't know you're Israel, when they got their guns trying to fight his army, guess whose side you're going to be on?
Yep.
And you're going to be trying to fight your side.
That's right.
Because you've been an American instead of Israel. You have to know who you are. That's why what's that Ezekiel 37, the Valley of Dry Bones? That's us. All day long. It's a picture and a prophecy of Israel. Time them bones start coming to life. What they want to do? Think about that boy. Do y'all know how the Black Lives movement started?
Yeah.
When that boy said, I can't breathe,
Right.
when they choked that man. And that's what happened to us as a people. What was the prophecy he gave in Ezekiel? Did he tell them to breathe on the bones? And prophesy to us to live? But time you start breathing, time you start coming to life, somebody want to choke the life out of you.
Yep.
How do they choke the life out of you? All of a sudden, you have Black Lives Matter. You marching for your cause. Next thing they come out with, all lives matter. Gay lives matter. But what does that do to you? That chokes out what you're trying to do. It is by design. And then we have to keep these things in mind. It's not anything about being racial. It's about nationhood and nationality. And we have to keep these things in mind. It is very important that we learn to start loving ourselves as a people. Because let me tell y'all something. we can't blame anyone for anything until we take responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
We have to love ourselves first. We've been taught not to love each other and ourselves. And that's what we have to do. We need to do some work inside of some in-house stuff. Can't nobody come and get us together.
That's right.
We have to get us together.
That's right.
And the only thing we have to do is start supporting one another. You can't make me believe ain't nobody up in here, sitting here, ain't got no business adventures. Think about it. Didn't he say in Deuteronomy 20 chapter, other nations shall come in amongst you, and they shall go up very high, but ye shall remain low? How do they go up high? They come into your community and market you, and you put your money back into them. And guess what they do? They take your money and
Take it back to their country. Yep.
Don't y'all know good as y'all cooking here? We should have a restaurant somewhere. And and us in here should patronize and support that restaurant. Y'all know how to cook too well. Don't y'all know we should have business adventures? We should have some kind of plan and go, because the Most High, even in captivity, He gave us a remedy. He told us how to survive even within that, and not only survive but be prosperous in it. You know, the curses are only on you if you're breaking the law, even in the land of your captivity. If you're keeping the commandment, He rebukes you and show you favor. Even in the land of your captivity. But we have to become more thus-minded and realize that we have to take some responsibility and be accountable for each other. It's our responsibility when we see our young people going wrong to say something to them. But we're scared to say something to them. It's our responsibility when we see our brothers and sisters to try to shed light and share light and shine light on them. Do y'all know how many of our brothers and sisters we walk past every day and don't mention a thing to them? But when He wakes us up, we're supposed to be doing the work. It's our duty. It's our call. But we'll walk past 200 of our brothers and sisters every day and not say not one word to them. And that's a problem. And then when they shooting and killing in the neighborhood, since you know the solution and you're not a support of the solution, you're the problem. Am I right? Because we know what cleans up our neighborhoods. We know what gives us order and puts us in the right standing and gives us power as a nation. It's the Torah. But how is somebody supposed to see the light if you don't shine the light? Did He say we were the light? So if our community is in darkness and walking in darkness, whose fault is it? It's ours. Because we see that, these Christian churches have failed. We got one on every corner, and the condition of our people have not changed over the last 100 years. I could say the last 400. Nothing has changed. But we have to be more thus-minded. We have to be more supportive of each other. We need to get together discussing that. I'm gonna bring up something else too, because we're slumbering. Y'all don't see how this economy is collapsing and everything. Y'all don't find it strange. Y'all see these people prepping, and they keep storing food, they're storing water. But y'all know one thing about the Gentiles. They know things way before we know it. You know how they know? Because we don't go to city hall meetings, town hall meetings and stuff. We're not a part of the chamber of commerce and stuff. So they have a lot of intel, a lot of information, and we just sit there, we go on like nothing they have. Just in the dark. And then when all hits the fan, guess who's somebody looking like a fool? We are. We need to start storing. We need to start buying some non-perishable items, canned goods. Some of us got grandmothers and stuff still. They know how to can. You can can food and they have a shelf life for 20, 30 years. There's a way to do these things, y'all, and we have to start doing them. It's better to have and not need than need and not have.
Mm-hmm.
We have to start doing this stuff. If you got space in your home, you got a basement, you got an extra room, start buying you some Mylar bags. You can get like a 50-pound bag of pinto beans for like, some places $30, some places like $40. And you take those bags, those beans, and you put them in Mylar bags. Y'all seen those aluminum foil looking bags?
Mm-hmm.
And you put your oxygen things in there, oxygen tablets or whatever they call it. And yeah, right. And what it does is, it takes all the moisture out. When you put that oxygen thing in the bag, and you take like you know the things y'all women use to press your hand stuff, like the heating pad thing, the iron. You take it across, it seals it. Now it'll have added for the first 2 days, but after 2 days, all of the air and oxygen is gone out of that bag and it's airtight. And guess how long the shelf life it has? Till you open it. Most times 25 to 30 years.
We went to a website and we pulled up survival. They had a really big survival kit, yeah.
And they said
Get the
some
dried
stuff already.
beans, get the nuts. There's a whole big thing for $200.
And we need to start thinking like this. There's no need for us to be someone standing in the soup line and begging for food. When you see, when you see these people doing this stuff, you ought to know something is coming. We know the Most High is going to deliver Israel, but we don't know what conditions are going to be like until He come and delivers. So we have to be prepared, y'all. As a congregation, we need a storage unit or something kind of central where everybody can get to it if you don't have room in your home. We need to start buying stuff. Unless somebody have extra space, we that if you got a group of y'all, all y'all live in the same area, get together and see who got spaces where y'all can all start storing stuff. You got another group up in Carterville, up in that area. Get together and see how y'all can start preparing and storing stuff. So when all goes down, you know you got food to eat, you have water to drink. Because this stuff is needed.
You know what alert me when I started seeing bank selling survival food?
Mm-hmm.
When does a bank sell survival food?
You know something's wrong.
Something wrong.
You know something wrong. When you saw Greece fall and all these other European countries, the economy fall and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you got to know something wrong. And I'm telling you the number one indicator that something wrong. When y'all saw them Zionists or the Israeli, the people over in Israel, trying to go back to where they come, Cremation or where they come from,
Croatia.
Crimea or whatever, and they were trying to go back to Russia. You know how y'all know how long the folk been in the land of Israel claiming they were there.
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden they want to leave and go to Crimea and back to Russia. Why is that? Because in the land they can still claim to be the people. You know how many? They done got like $500 billion in funding over the years. Do y'all know how much money $500 billion is? So now, if they leave the land, they said they're taking the money because they control. You know who control the banks? They do. Y'all know the Bank of England controls every bank on this earth. They set the interest rate every day. They dictate how the stock market. Well, the stock market falls because they manipulate it. They're the one that caused that to happen. Even when you go back to what was that, Black Monday or whatever, the stock market crashed back in the day. What was it called? Was it Black Monday? A Black Friday or something. A Black Monday. But anyway, they manipulate that stuff. Did they do it in Germany? So when the stock market crashed, if they control the interest rate, they control the stock market stuff. So when they manipulate the fall, Guess what they do? They go buy everything pennies on the dollar. That's why they own everything. They set themselves up to do that. So if they're controlling that, they got, you know who got all the gold and stuff? They do. And if you don't understand that the United States of America is their army and militia or police force that works for them, that's why you have an income tax system set into place. Because two people, you owe them because they finance your wars, and you owe the Queen of England because America was always in debt to them. And that's what your income tax is for. That money goes to the Queen now. Y'all did know that, right?
Amen.
Yeah, your income tax goes to the Queen of England. So America has always. How y'all thought America was founded? You know, they sent their exiles and people, the unwanted, undesirables here. This was America was a penal colony. They did not expect for them to gain this much power, influence, and control like they did. But you have to see the whole picture of what's going on. Because I'm telling y'all, something is going on. Israel, we need to be prepared. And the Most High to do some damage, and we need to be in the right standards and be in the right place while he's doing it. Because let me tell you something about Jacob's trouble. This is what we're dealing with. You might not recognize it, but it is. He said it'll be like a woman in travail. And you know when a woman in travail, you know her contractions are hours apart at the beginning. But what happened as she get closer to the time of her deliverance? Don't those contractions get closer and closer together?
Every 30 seconds.
Exactly. And this is what's take place. And this is what's going to happen. But he said now, we would be delivered out of all of it. But what did he say about the nation? He said they would be destroyed. He said then with the nation, he said it'd be like a man in travail. Said, who's heard such a thing? Don't y'all know how excruciating that would be for a man to be in travail or delivered? He would die. Exactly. That's how I know our women are very strong. To endure what women have to go through with labor and stuff. He said, so it would be like a man in travail. So who has heard such a thing? But he promised to save his people, so we have to be prepared, y'all. There's no need of us dying of starvation and all this kind of stuff when we know what to do. Y'all remember the story of Joseph? That was a famine in that land.
Yep.
But who did the Most High use to sustain the life of everybody? You know, Joseph went in that place as a slave, as a captive. He didn't go into Egypt free. He came into his captive. The story is to remind us to know what to do. He helped them prepare. So while we have means of being able to do something, we have to start preparing. Even if you just buy one big bag of beans or rice or whatever, a pay period. Or one a month. You have to start doing something now. We can't wait till the electrical grid in America go out. Because you know they've had several countries where they've knocked that electrical grid. You know you're handicapped when electrical grid go out. You can't use cell phone, microwave, you can't do anything. And let me tell you something. And when the government has to feed the people, they have what they call them things? MREs or whatever? The C rations. Even with the stockpile that they have that stuff, do you know if they have to feed the citizens of America, they can only feed them for 2 days? And then you're on your own?
Even as long as you take them on.
But we've already experienced a glitch in the system. As a transportation in all of the 5 major areas in the country, the ports. Once you get a glitch in that system, there's nothing coming in and nothing going out. So whatever is in has to survive.
Yep. And so that's why you have several countries, they were just handicapped. Y'all remember the stock market just crashed through, was it 2012? The Dow fell it was like 600 some points on the bottom or below. And they didn't know what to do. So that's what they don't have to get you through missiles and all that. There's ways to cripple a people. And that's what, but if that should happen, we need to be prepared. We just, it's like, that's what we just really have to wake up, because we would just laugh and talk and play like ain't nothing happening. He told you what was going to happen. We know this stuff coming. If he told you that these folks going to be throwing their monies and stuff in the street, anybody throwing monies in the street, you know that's a problem. Because guess what? It has no value anymore. It can do you no good. Y'all don't know money is just a piece of paper?
Mm-hmm.
It's a promissory note. It's not, we don't even use the gold standard anymore. It's not backed by anything. So if you got $1 million in the bank, really all you have is $100,000, because that's all the bank have to insure you for.
Because of the first depression.
Yep.
But you know, when they talk about the World Trade Center, a lot of people don't know one of the towers had their gold.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't talk about it anymore. They're like, what happened to the gold? That they supposed to have got from the Arabs because they owed them. And the Arabs like, where I go? They're like, oh, it all melted. Where does it go? Once it cooled down, you should have liquid gold. Where's it at?
They moved that before that happened.
Oh, yeah. But not only that, do y'all not know they got video, they got pics, all kind of footage. Do y'all know how many Jews or Zionist Jews worked in the trade center of the Twin Towers?
Yep.
No, more than 200. Usually it goes to thousands, but a majority of them worked there. Because y'all know.
They got warning.
They got warning.
Yep.
And you see all these barges
Yep.
floating across the ocean and stuff. Guess what they got on? Shipping containers of all their stuff that they pulled out. Let me tell you another thing. And the man that bought the World Trade Center up, and, you know, he bought them how many weeks before they fell?
Like 2 weeks, something like
2
that.
weeks before they
2
fell.
weeks.
Thank y'all. Hold on, y'all. For $15 million,
Yeah.
you buy what? The Twin Towers for $15 million?
Yep.
There was no money.
But the insurance policy is about how much? $5 billion?
And he actually insured it
Yep.
because of, he said his insurance was in case of airplanes hitting the building or something like that. Just so happened that was one of his insurance.
And y'all remember what movie was that where they had it playing on the radio, like the news coming across the radio, and the news was about planes flying into the Twin Towers? Y'all remember that movie? And this movie was years before it happened.
I think I know.
Yeah.
I can't. Airplane. Was that it?
I think it was one of Bruce Willis' movies, but one of the scenes that had
right.
the news coming across the radio, it was talking about planes that had just flew into the Twin Towers. Guess,
I don't.
He comes, he's like an action hero, and then he got like a little John.
but he wasn't actually, the scene wasn't actually in the movie. It just, in the scene, the radio was on, and that event had just happened on September 11th, on the radio.
Right. Oh, I know what movie you're talking about. I can't remember
cannot
it.
think of the movie.
I know what movie you're talking about.
That's how you know something's wrong with that picture, y'all. It's strange.
Yeah.
That you know, it's a game that's being played. It's a game.
Katrina, when she got ready to come,
I know what
there was a
movie he's
movie on that following week in the show where they were dropping canister in the hurricane. It was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But everybody's watching Katrina. They showed the movie on TV.
And they tell you through the movies what's getting ready to happen and what's happening, and we just pass it.
We just passed right along. Just like it ain't that.
You know, it's something I'm worried too, because I truly believe that when, and I'm not trying to differentiate, but I know that women probably feel that men are always going to be around to protect them. I really believe that women need to up it up, because Kasada and me, we've gone to shooting ranges where he makes me unload the gun, put it back together, take it apart, clean it. I haven't done that lately because something scared me, but I need to get back to that. But I believe that women also need to learn how to protect themselves so that when these things happen, you're not in a position where you can't protect your family if your husband is not around or if your brothers are not around. That's just a thought.
But
I agree with you, sister, because biblically speaking, you know, there was a time when many of the men were at war, and there were times where villages and cities and nations were being conquered by the enemies, and the women did have to take standards to protect their young children, and that was, and the elderly.
And that's when the Most High set of laws where husbands and the son, older son and stuff couldn't go to war at the same time like that.
Right. Absolutely.
But you said something key, because if your man is not in the house, think about if you're awake and we're discussing this now, and you start preparing and you get your stuff for you and your family, baby, to sustain yourself. Think about all those that's not hearing this. If they don't have it, they're hungry. Guess where where you think they're going?
Break in and hurt you to get their stuff.
So you have to be able to protect what's yours.
You make a good point. Mr. Bar makes me do that. And I used to complain because I have like problems with my hands. So he has different sizes, and he makes the girls and I put clip in, take clip out, and switch it to safety, and he times us. And I'm like, why do we have to do this? But now it makes sense because when he's not in the house, I walk around for protection. If anything happens, I know what to do, and I'm accustomed to it. Because sometimes people freeze up when you have those situations, and you're like, I don't know what to do.
Exactly. And one thing is, you know, a lady that works with Shy, she was saying, she said her husband make her and her kids do it in the dark, not with the lights on. They have to be able to pick the part up and feel and know what it is and know where it goes. Yeah. Because in the military, you're doing it like that. You're not looking at a gun, putting it together after so long. They train you to do that in the dark with your eyes closed and everything else. Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Okay, y'all. But we're going to continue this discussion. We actually need to come together and have a meeting where we can discuss more of this and start. We have to start now because we're already 10 years, 15, 20 years too late. This is something we need to start thinking about and doing now. And so right now we're not gonna be before you long, but we're gonna continue our lesson on the 2 olive trees and the wild olive tree. Okay. Oh yeah, let's open up a prayer. Yeah. Yashra'al want to pray for us today. We're going to wait till the end to do our announcements.
Yeah, we're this way. This way.
We're going to read from the book of Toledo, 49. Hear this, all ye people, give ear, all ye inhabitants of the world, both low and high, rich and poor together. My mouth shall speak of wisdom, and meditate of my heart shall be of understanding. I will incline my ears to a parable, which I will open my dark saying upon harps. Wherefore shall I fear in the days of evil, when the iniquity of my heels shall compass me about? They that trust in their wealth and boast themselves in the multitude of their riches, none of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give a ransom for him. For the redemption of the soul is precious, and it seeks forever, that he should still live forever, and not see corruption. For seeth that the wise man die likewise, the fool and the brutish person perish, and leave their wealth to others. We thank you, Father, for another day. We thank you for waking us up this morning. We thank you for the word that the brother's about to bring us. We ask that you give us an ear to hear, give us an understanding, that we may apply those things that was said before us. In the name of Yahushua we pray. Amen.
Hallelujah. Okay, for a little refresh or review. Okay. As Israelites, no matter what we read in the Messianic writings or the New Testament, no matter what we read from the prophets, what is our foundation? Torah. Okay. Torah is our foundation. So, when we look at the Messianic teachings or writings, 2/3 of the Messianic writings or teachings or the epistles comes from where? Torah. Very important. So, when we start reading about the fullness of the Gentiles, so if you encounter someone and you're in a discussion, they tell you that Yahuwah, the Most High, doesn't deal with the Jews anymore, that now he's dealing with the Gentiles or the New Testament church as the bride. How do we refute that? What do we take them to?
Genesis 48.
Okay, so what I keep saying, so
Genesis 48.
Genesis 48 and what?
What, 19?
19, read it for us. And you all that haven't made a note of this, make a note of it. Bereshit 48:19. Genesis 48:19. Matter of fact, start at 16. But the verse that we're going to focus on is 19. Genesis 48 and 19.
The messenger which to redeem me from all evil.
Read it aloud, Aki.
The messenger which redeem me from all evil, bless the lad. And let my name be named on them. In the name of my father Abraham and Esau, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth.
Stop right there. It says, let them grow into what? Into a multitude in the midst of what?
The earth.
The earth. Okay, that's very important because something's. Now you notice he prophesied to his grandson, but something's going to take place with his grandson. That multitude into the midst of the earth is very important. Go ahead, Aki.
And when Joseph saw his father, the lad laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, and it displeased him.
Okay, stop right there. He laid his right hand upon Ephraim, and it displeased him. Why did it displease Joseph?
Because he was the youngest.
He wasn't the firstborn. Good, thank you. Okay. And go ahead, Aki.
And he held up his father's hand and removed it from Ephraim's head unto his Manasseh's head. And Joseph said unto his father, Not so, my father, for this is my firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head. And the father refused and said, I know, my son. If it also, I know it also shall come a people, and he also shall be a great. And truly, the younger brother shall be a great.
Okay, so let's read it again. He said, I know it. He also shall become a people, speaking of Manasseh, and he also shall be great. But right, he said, but truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become, this is very important right here, a multitude of nations. I want every one of y'all to underline that or highlight it. A multitude of nations. Because when you get to Romans, Apostle Shaul or Paul is speaking, you're going to hear this come up again. So, what is a multitude of nation in the Hebrew tongue? Y'all remember I said? Everybody repeat it after me. Malo, Ha, Goyim. Malo, ha, goyim. This is why we put so much emphasis on the Hebrew tongue in the language. Because when you just reading this not saying very much. It's only when you go back to the Hebrew language and you read that. Malo ha-goyim in Hebrew means fullness of the Gentiles. Write that down somewhere.
Goyim means nation, right?
Yeah, goyim means nation, Gentiles.
That's gonna be Hebrew 4390.
Hebrew 40, what now?
4390.
Read that.
And what does it mean?
Oh, let me write this.
Gentile.
Fullness.
Fullness, okay.
And this is why I say, always know that Torah is our foundation. Because when you start seeing stuff in the New Testament or the Messianic writings and it's very important to know they're not just saying, is this too sloppy for y'all to read?
No, not at all, not at all.
Malo ha-goyim. It means fullness of the Gentiles. Because we're going to read something in Romans when Yashra'al brings this up again. He said, blindness is in part to the Jews until what? The fullness of the Gentiles come in. So who did Jacob say the fullness of the Gentiles were?
10 tribes.
Okay, but who's the 10 tribes? Let's go read that. Now, who is he praying over when he said he should become a multitude of nations? Ephraim. Ephraim becomes the leader or the head of what?
Northern.
Of the house of Israel.
Mhm.
The northern kingdom or the house of Israel. We all have that understanding. So if Ephraim here in the Torah, where this sets the foundation, he said it's the fullness of the Gentile. If he said blindness is in part to the house of Judah or the Jews, is he not making the distinguishing or making a difference between two groups of people?
Mhm.
So how would he speak of the Jews and all of a sudden start dealing with another nation when he still has other sheep that are lost? Does that make any sense? You would not do that. This is what makes the commissions line up. What did he say? He said, I'll come only to who? The lost sheep of the house of Israel. Ephraim is the lost sheep of the house of Israel, right?
Yep.
So, if he said, I'll only come to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, then when he commissioned the apostles that do not go to the Gentiles about where the Samaritan, but rather go to who?
The lost sheep of
The
the house of
lost sheep of the
Israel.
house of Israel. And the house of Israel is who?
Ephraim.
Ephraim, or the 10 tribes that make up the northern kingdom. They are not Jews. Not at any time will you call any
Mhm.
of the northern kingdom a Jew. They became Gentiles. You can go in the scripture and see several places where Israel, they're called Goyim. The word Goyim only means nation. So this is what we're dealing with. So if somebody tells you that the gospel has gone to the Gentiles, automatically in your mind, what's the first thing that should come to your mind? Thank you. The lost sheep or the house of Israel. They were Gentiles because they had what? How did they become Gentiles?
They practice and they're going after those pagan idols.
Okay, going after the pagan idols and what else?
Worshiping the deities. Leave in charge.
Okay, the left Torah, what happened? I'm trying to get some specific words that help you to convey it the right way. Okay, they left Torah and all that, but then what happened? They assimilated into the culture of those around them. Just like us as Israelites by blood, but then we assimilated into the culture of America, and now we call ourselves what? Americans.
He committed adultery.
Exactly. You can call it that, or that's what it is. So we have assimilated into the culture of the people that surround us, who we were placed in the midst. Okay, what you remember that verse I told you? I said he said in the midst of the earth.
Oh, okay.
Because what eventually happened to both branches or both houses? Would you say, Coach? Oh no, I'm talking about what eventually happened to them. They split in whatever. They got exiled or scattered into where? The four corners, or in the midst of the earth. That's very important because now it seems like a bad thing, but the Most High had a plan all along. You remember when Jeroboam and Rehoboam were into it? The two brothers were fighting, and they started killing each other by the tens of thousands. But then the Most High had to send a word. He had to come down and talk to them and tell him that it was him. He was the reason for the split. But he had another purpose in mind. Remember, Yashra'al's purpose from day one was to be what? An example or a light unto the nations. But since we became so haughty and high-minded, we forsook, or we got in a place we had forsaken our Elohim. And we became so wicked, he said that the nation was wicked because we taught them wickedness. So with that happening, since we defiled his name or profaned his name amongst the nations, guess how he has to clean up his name? By scattering us where? Amongst the nations. And when he comes to deliver us, and he decides to smile upon us again and put us in the right standing, guess what's going to happen? The nation's going to know who he is. That's the whole purpose of this. You know, we a lot of times you hear Israelites say that he doesn't care for the other nation. He only loves Israel. That's not true. You think he would create a people and not love them? He just chose us to be his, to do a specific work. And so when we read the writings, they're his writings, but he's speaking of us and the relationship that he had with us because of the betrothal and the marriage that we entered into with him. He didn't forsake the other nation. It's not that he doesn't care about the other nations. Yeah, a lot of them are going to be destroyed. But those are the other nations that see righteousness in the Most High and his Torah. If they accept it, guess what? They're going to latch hold, they're going to walk with you. Is that not what happened in Mizraim? We came out of mixed multitude. But he still made a difference and separated Yashra'al even from the nation that came out with him. And that's the beauty of the story of Joseph. And we have to focus on anything because when he went down into Egypt, Joseph was a picture of the Mashiach. You know his 12 brothers came down in that land to survive. His family. But what happened when he got ready to reveal himself to his brothers? You know the Egyptian was right there with him. Did he not put them out of the room? And he only revealed himself to his brothers? And what happened when he revealed himself to his brothers? Then he started crying, and there was a morning that went out through the land. What happened when he come to live us this time? Didn't it say he's going to separate us from the nation? And there's going to be a great mourning, a cry that goes out through the land? The son, everything that happened then happens again. It's just a parallel of what's to take place in the future. But you know, for everything we're talking about, you talking about Mashiach, and we keep talking about Yashra'al of Israel. You don't wonder why? Because it's your story. He betrothed you. And you know what we read about the other nations in the scriptures?
They come in contact with it.
They come in contact with Israel by us being disobedient, going into captivity now. If we had been obedient, you would have this history about the ups and downs and the toils about Israel. You read about the Syrians because we were disobedient, the Babylonians, the Medo-Persians, the Greeks, the Romans. You read about all of these people because of our disobedience. Because had we been obedient, you would be reading one story about the harmony amongst the nations of the earth. Because Israel is shining light upon the other nations, and everybody's following after the righteousness of Yahuwah. But since we didn't do that, you read about the toils of a whorish bride, an adulterous bride, and the love that her husband has for her. I don't care how much whoredom she committed. He just takes her back over and over again to show his love over and over again. And so that's why you have to know, when we start talking about Gentiles, the wild olive branch and all that, we're going to get back to that gradually. And you have to know, if the book starts out about Israel, you know it's ending with Israel. It doesn't change a ship in the middle, you don't change horses in the middle of a stream. It doesn't do that. But the language changed. Because now you've gone to one language. Now the school of thought or the philosophy or doctrine that's being presented is coming from another language now. So, when we're dealing with that, and now we see that Malo Hagoyim is the fullness of the Gentiles. Now when we go to Romans, is it Romans 13? Hey, what was that scripture you had in Hebrew, Aki? Did you quote a script from Hebrew?
No, that was actually in the Strong's, right?
Oh, whoever had somebody
I
read.
thought it was Hebrew 40, you say 4390?
Yeah, I think that wasn't that in the Strong's you was on reading?
Yeah, that was strong.
Oh, you read the Strong's number.
Yeah.
Okay then. Yeah, if you go look at those Strong's numbers, this is what you're going to get, fullness of the nation. That's why it's important. I said we can't always just read English. We have to go back to the language to get a full understanding of what's going on. So if he's saying Ephraim is the fullness of the Gentiles back in Bereshit, in the Torah of the Torah at the beginning, he's already establishing something at the very beginning. And this is why he talks about being in the midst of the earth, because he knows what's going to take place. Did he say Israel is a speckled bird? In Jeremiah 6 said, Ephraim has mixed himself where? Amongst the nations. Very important. So if this is how, when you get over to Romans, let's go over that right quick, y'all. I think it's Romans 13 chapter, if I'm not mistaken.
Speaking to the Gentiles,
Yes.
Romans 11, 1 to 23.
Romans 11, 1 to 23. You might, so KG, you don't have your scripture, you do.
No.
Okay. You kiss Kaya. Because I can't talk kind of loud. I know good baby. But some of y'all be like,
No, it's in
And
the
you
let him
said-
read it. Sorry.
man should not live by prayer.
11,
Yeah, Romans,
Romans 11 and 25. That you can start, I guess.
For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of the mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceit, that blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in.
stop right there. Okay, the blindness had happened to who? Israel. Blindness had happened to Israel. It's a reason why I want to go here. Blindness has happened to who? Israel. Why is it saying blindness has happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles come in?
because they divorced.
Okay, say it again, Coach E. Not exactly. Not quite. You're almost there because you're dealing with the two.
Until you bring them both back together, because actually blindness in part to them until they come back together and be one nation.
Right, he said blindness is happened to who?
To Israel.
Israel,
To the fullness of the Gentiles come in.
to the fullness of the Gentile come in.
Now, can you be talking about when you bring both of them back together?
Not the, but blindness happened to Israel.
Right.
Show my key. Hey, you know I'm in study, right? Up in the, y'all here? Oh no, I'm at the congregation. Yes, I am. It's probably around 4 o'clock. Yeah. Okay then. All right, shalom. My apologies. Okay then.
It reminds me a little different. It says until the fullness of the other people come in. So,
Yeah, that's wordplay too. I want us to, now we're trying to convey this, right, because you're going to meet people. You have to know this. Now read that again, somebody, that verse.
For I do not wish you to be ignorant of this secret, brothers, lest you should be wise in your own estimation, that hardening in heart has come over Israel until the completeness of the Gentiles has come in.
Blindness had come over Israel. Who is Israel?
he's talking about the 10 if you say Israel, but if he's talking about the nation, should he say the house of Israel? Okay, well, he's talking about the 10 if he's
No,
talking
he's not talking about the 10.
to
He said blindness has come from who? Israel.
Heart. He's still blind, right?
Help my Robert Lou, because I know you know, because you want to say it so bad.
To the southern kingdom.
To the southern kingdom, the Jew, the house of Judah. Because remember, Israel is still divorced at this time. Remember, they're in Jerusalem now. Make sure y'all write this down. The only people that are recognized as Israel at this time is the house of Judah. Because the house of Israel is still divorced at this time. You remember he said, I came to my own and they received me not? He said, but being they rejected me, now the gospel go to who? The Gentile. Who was his own?
Yeah.
Be more specific.
Yahudi.
Did the scripture say it's evident that Mashiach sprung from the tribe of Judah? AKA the Jews? Because remember, that's what you have in Jerusalem at that time. Even though Rome is the conquering and government and ruling nation at that time, they're in Jerusalem. The house of Judah is the only known faction of the 12 tribes that's recognized as Israel at that time. This is what I'm trying to get y'all to, because you have to be able to explain this and know this the right way. So remember, the Mashiach said, I come only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Remember he told the Jews, he said, it was necessary that I come to you first. But being that you reject me, or reject the good news, he said the gospel now goes to who? The Gentiles, who were the house of Israel. Remember he told them, he said, I have other sheep that are not of this fold. Therefore he said that this fold is the house of Judah. He said, I have other sheep that are not of the house of Judah. He said, they also belong to me, and they also what? Must be brought in. That's why he came to unite what? The 12 tribes. He came to unite the two kingdoms. And this is why he said, I come only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. He commissioned them to what? To reach the same people he went after. Y'all know he could have gone to another nation because, think about this. I asked y'all last week. At what time did the Mashiach ever go to the Roman leaders or those that were ruling and condemn them of all their idol worship, condemn them of anything they ever did? You know, he never messed with the Romans. Think about that, y'all. So why would he be going to their people? Now remember this, and keep this in mind. Always think of the backdrop. Always think about what's going on in Yerushalayim or Jerusalem at the time of the Mashiach and at the time of the apostles. Who was ruling at that time? No, the high priest weren't ruling.
Well, the Romans were ruling.
The Romans were ruling. So, if the Romans were ruling, and the Romans, the people are in their kingdom, if the Most High come with a message of good news, the gospel of the kingdom, you know he wanted that message would be for Romans because they were looking at him like crazy. Like, man, we're already on top. We're ruling. What are you talking about? So you don't have to know that message for who? For a different audience other than the Romans. Y'all see how I'm trying to get y'all to think? You know this stuff, you're just not thinking, and I'm thinking about the whole, the big picture, the whole picture. I'm trying to get y'all to learn how to think in a certain way. That's why people can go in these debates like we saw that big mess that boy made with Dr. James White. Because anytime you're teaching that the Gentiles are the other nations, you don't have an argument, you don't have a premise to stand upon. You cannot do it. If you're teaching that the New Testament Gentiles, who the message is being preached to, are the other nations, you don't have a premise to stand on in a debate or a premise to hold your argument. That's why their doctrine is flawed. But you notice how when we go back to Torah, then move forward, how everything makes sense and how it all lines up. And this is why I hate to keep, you know, I hate to keep going over this stuff a lot of times. We've been over this several times. But you still see how y'all don't have it like you're supposed to have it and be able to convey it. You have to know during the New Testament time that Israel is Judah at that time. Not the house of Israel, but Israel. Because they're the only known faction at that time of the house of Jacob, or the 12 tribes. They're the one, remember he said the scepter will stay with Judah? Because remember, he didn't write Judah bill of divorce, only the house of Israel. And always keep in mind the backdrop of what's going on during the time of the apostles. Who's in the land? Y'all know the Romans didn't get the Mashiach in on the apostles of the Talmudian problems. It was those Jews that were in power.
So,
Go ahead.
okay, that's got cool. So what you're saying is, because I'm still, I mean, for so many years I've been with this other thing, so I'm starting to see what you're saying, though. So what you're saying is when Saul went to, all these different places, in other words, they were just places that the house of Israel was scattered to, and the people that was fighting him was the same people that was fighting the Mashiach. In other words, the same people in power.
The Pharisees and all that.
Around.
It wasn't the Roman government, because even when Mashiach, before he got crucified, they went to the Roman government. And they had done anything to them. You remember, they told them to do it, the Jews to do it.
Right.
Didn't Pilate wife, I'm gonna wash my hands with this blood? They didn't want the blood on his hands.
Right.
That's why he gave them the authority to do what they want to do with their Messiah. And so this is what we have to understand. When you see Shaul them going to these nations, their remnants of the house of Israel has been scattered in all these places. So that's why on the day of Pentecost, you remember at Sinai when he gave us the covenant, the marriage betrothal, it was at Sinai. That was on Pentecost. You remember he killed 3,000 that day? But what happened to Acts the 2nd chapter on the day of Pentecost? Don't he add 3,000 back to the assembly? Yeah, snap. He killed 3,000 at Sinai in the wilderness, and it was on Pentecost. And when you get to Acts, the 2nd chapter, on the day of Pentecost, he add 3,000 back to the assembly. That's very important. Because Pentecost is a picture of what? A marriage. You remember the covenant has to be renewed. It's still a picture of a marriage. Remember it said there were Jews, devout men from under every nation under the sun?
Right.
Jews, devout men. What would make somebody devout? A separate, but what caused us to be separated? The Ruach, but something more specific. The Torah. It's the Torah. That's what made us different from all the other nations. He gave us something that the other nations didn't have. It was the Torah. Everybody get a good picture of what we're trying to say. You got it, bro? Any question? Feel free to ask any question.
What were you said that during the New Testament time, you said that Israel was Judah? What did you say?
Yeah, Israel, the fraction of Israel that remained, because they were still under the covenant, was the house of Judah, or AKA the Jews. That's why you see that word Jew tossed around so much in the New Testament. Because I'm gonna get you. Because the Jews, they weren't cut off yet. They were not divorced. They were never divorced. That's why everything is taking place in Jerusalem. Because you remember when Yashra'al spoke to the woman at the well? Remember what she said? She said, "How be it that you be a Jew ask me for something to drink?" But you know, Jews have no dealing with Samaritans. But then she later on, she go to identify herself as an Israelite. She said, my forefather Jacob built this well. But if we know from the history, we know the house of Israel, the vast majority of them worshiped and lived in Samaria. But the house of Judah, aka the Jews, where do they live and worship? In Jerusalem. But you know what their conversation was at that well?
Oh, that's why he, okay.
When they not talking about husbandry and marriage and who was her husband and who wasn't?
That's why he said he don't know what she was.
That's not by coincidence. So when we go to Romans 9 and 7, or Romans the 7th chapter, we see that you see the word marriage comes up again, or the law of the husband. And he's talking to these Gentiles and telling them they're free from the law of the husband. And not only can they marry, but who can they marry? He that was resurrected. Because we're talking about the law of divorce. Who had the right to law of divorce? The person that was under the law, the man that they were married to, had to write the divorce. So in Romans, we're talking about who? Again, the house of Israel. They were the one divorced, not the house of Judah. You got another question, Cody? I know you got.
I think too, when I look back at the scripture 25, when it reads that blindness has happened to Israel, to the fools, I guess you have to go back to where you read in Genesis 28.
He said to the fullness of the Gentiles come in.
It's not talking about the same.
It's not talking about, that's why I said Torah is always our foundation. Anything we're saying out the New Testament, it has to come from the Torah first. Because everything is built and based off of the Torah. That's why anything we teach, we should be able to go back there to prove it. You good? You good, Robert Lou? So, with that being said, when we see this, when we see these phrases and stuff like in Romans, we have to understand that the Mashiach is non-changing. It's that he's what? The same today, yesterday, and forevermore. Even we go back to the teacher said, the Most High said, I'm the sovereign, thy Elohim, who changes not. neither does, he said, I change not, and neither does the Son of Man. I don't change, neither does my Son change. So what was already written and stated in Torah, the Son have to come saying the same thing. This is why he told Philip, he said, when you see the Father, when you see me, you see the Father, for I and the Father are one. He's not saying they're the same person. We know we see that one, we get the Hebrew word akkad, which means in agreement. He doesn't come saying or doing anything different from what the Father said or did. So, when we go to let's go down to Romans 11:17. Romans 11:17. Rob or Luke, get that for me, if you don't mind. Romans 11:17.
Oh, Luke 17.
Like United Christ,
And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree, were grafted in among them, and with them partakest of the root and fatness of the olive tree. Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee. Thou wilt say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in.
Let's stop right there. The branches were broken off that I might graft in. He said, boast not against the natural branch. He called somebody a wild olive branch. Now, the significance of this is, like we said, the first betrothal took place at Sinai. But where does the marriage and everything else take place? Zion. Okay then. But since Robert Luke already know, you asked Sister Kara, what does Zion or Sion mean?
Be grafted in.
To be grafted in. Do y'all see the importance of that? Y'all notice he said Mashiach will stand where? On Mount Zion? And who will stand with him? It ain't a trick question. The 144,000. On Mount Zion. And the 144,000 is what? Okay, be a little more specific than the 12 tribes, though. 12,000 out of each tribe. So, what is that a picture of? If you got 144,000 standing on Mount Zion with Mashiach, you got 12 tribes, or the 12,000 to be 12. Is that not the reunification of the two houses?
Yes.
And you have a marriage that's what? Taking place. Because you know the new covenant can't go into effect when? Until when? Yep, I mean when the marriage takes place, but something has to happen before then. Why can't the new covenant, how do we know the new covenant is not in effect right now? Because the houses are not united.
When you say houses, you mean the northern?
And this, exactly, the northern and the southern kingdom. They have to be reunited before the covenant can go into effect. Okay, then, so we know Zion, that means to be grafted in. And remember I said the Torah is our foundation? So, can somebody give us a little overview about what the Torah says? About grafting in, or trees and growing, produce, vegetation, anything.
Like June, you have to become from the same.
Okay, then, no, you're right, but I'm looking for something else before we get to there. Not you.
The harvest?
What does the law say about these things? Thank you. He said every seed has to be what? Have its own kind. Every tree, every fruit. And what else did he not allow? We can't wear mixed fabrics. You can't grow diverse fruit or vegetation or crop in the same field. So no mixture. So what would make y'all think that he would take Yashra'al and go get somebody else that's not of the same root stock when he's given us the law of Kalaim, which means no mixing. He forbids us to mix anything. So what would make you think he would take a branch from this tree of this root and go get somebody that's not from the same root stock? When he has given us the law, he's already established the foundation in Torah. So y'all know these Gentiles could not be from the other nation. So when you go look up Zion, it's going to say to be grafted in. It is said the branch or the shoot that's being grafted in have to be in close relation to the root. So when we went and looked up these words from the last week, the things that didn't say have to be of the same gene pool or same genealogy. So we see how important that is. Then Mashiach said, he said, I'm the what? He said, I'm the true vine. And he said, who are the branches? We are the branches. Who is the we? Israel. Are we not in close relationship to him? Even though we were cut off, we are still of his root stock. So if anything else foreign is being grafted in, it's not going to take. It has to be of the same gene pool or the same ancestral line. And so this is why we have to know this, because you have to be able to thoroughly explain and convey this to others when you see them, because there's a message out in the land, where everybody wants to be Yashra'al. That's your one? No. Oh. Everybody wants to be Yashra'al, but nobody wants to suffer the curses that Yashra'al has gone through.
Right.
Everybody wants the benefits. So with your loved ones being lost, you have to understand what has happened to our people. They have been indoctrinated with a philosophy and a school of thought to where they think they're somebody else. And they're following after the wrong thing. You know how many of your ancestors say, you can tell them they're Israel, I'm a Gentile. And actually, yeah, you're right. In so many words, you are. And so, and we have to be able to explain to them, because when we go back to the curses, didn't he say we'll be known as a proverb and a byword? But there wasn't there a saying, I don't know if, who said, was it Maya Angelou who said it, or somebody say, a person with knowledge, without knowledge of self is like a tree without roots? What's a tree without roots? dead. A tree without root is dead. It's lifeless. And this is why we have to know these things. We can't just walk around in the darkness. If you have light, we have to be able to explain this and thoroughly know who we are and who others are. Because this is the #1 teaching that has paralyzed and crippled 90% of the earth. Replacement theology. You read the Bible, everything looked like the same people that brought you over here on the good ship Jesus. You reading about yourself all of these years not knowing that you're this special people in the book. You get out on your knee. Y'all know all our grandmothers, you go over to grandmama's house, she got that big Bible on the table with Caesar Borgia on the front of it. With that little blonde hair and the blue eyes. You thinking that's the Mashiach? If she ain't got on that big Bible, she got to put with that big old picture that everybody had with them kneeling in the garden praying, supposedly. You put the light beam down, yeah. When you see the angels, pictures of the angels, don't they look just like your oppressor? The oppressors? And see, our minds have been conditioned, so we have to recondition our minds. We have to recondition the minds of our loved ones, our people. And the only way we have to do, we have to be able to thoroughly convey our message. Convey our thought and know what we're saying and know how to back it up. Because not you can go sit before anybody. And they will have you so wound up and tangled up, and you think, you know you're the people, but you don't know how to convey or defend what you believe in and what you read or your book. And you're not defending the book to be offensive. You defend the book to take back what's rightfully yours and what's about you, and to take back your heritage. Because right now, until we come to this truth, you know, you've taken on something else from somebody else. You don't have a claim. Don't you know once you find out who you are in this book, it takes on a whole new meaning? Do y'all know the trials and the tribulation and the heartache and persecution we endure on a daily basis in these lands of our captivity? But knowing that you're Israel, don't it make it a lot more easier to be able to bear these things? Because if it wasn't for that knowledge, some of us would be on the news. With AK-47s and all, they got to fool you. But it's because you know who you are, and because you know whom you are, to whom you belong, it makes it a lot easier to bear and deal with you. This is why he told us to endure hardness as what? A good soldier. It makes it a lot easier to deal with. I'm over my times up here.
Oh, yeah.
But I just wanted to review some things and before we move forward to make sure that we have the correct understanding and knowledge on things that we need moving forward. Because, and I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but I don't know, some of y'all didn't see that dialogue and that debate. Did you see it like that?
Well, yes, I did. Yeah.
Could you tell them how bad that thing was?
It was terrible. It was terrible. It was
took
bad.
And I love that brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything to talk down. I really like he got a good spirit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you see what you just said, that the Israelite community took a blow, because you see what he said. He said that Rakar is one of the top guys. Like if Rakar represent all of us, so if he took a fall, where that leave us?
And this dude, this dude was just proud and arrogant with it.
Yeah,
And it's all because,
yeah.
and I'm saying since day one, these camp leaders need to sit down and be taught. They're still on milk.
Mm-hmm.
They think they did, but we know they're on milk. But nobody wants to humble themselves. That brother should have easily called somebody and got some info or got some insight from them. Well, let me tell you something. When it comes to dealing with some of y'all, I buy books. I have books on the church fathers, from their philosophy, because you know a lot of them were philosophers. So if you're taking philosophy in like a college environment or something, you're going to deal with a lot of the church fathers. And so if you don't understand Christian apologetics and how it works and what it's about, they teach and push the doctrines and the understanding of their church fathers. And replacement theology is a big part of that theology. So if you don't know this, that he should have never, but see the thing is, this young man, he knew the topics and all that were going to be discussed. Don't you know, going into that arena, you have to know about the church fathers? Because you know, anytime somebody say apologetics, anybody know anything about James White, that whole movement, all that's what they debate and argue, Christian apologetics. But you know, when you start dealing with exegesis, nobody won't, they won't deal with you. Because you know what exegesis does? It brings you right back to this and a particular group of people. It didn't start pushing out and excluding.
What are you saying,
Exegesis.
Exo?
Yeah. You never heard of it? Okay. But you know what? But in a little later on, what we're going to do, because we have to be equipped and armed with everything we need. And we're going to start, of course we can't do it on Shabbat, because we know we do Torah on Shabbat. But we're going to start getting into some teachings on the church fathers. So when you come across these things, because you can go see videos of our people, Israelites, they're defending Christian apologetics, arguing this stuff. Like, wait a minute now, you know, these church fathers, you were their slaves. So how would you be defending that? And you know, the book is saying something different than what their actions. And so what we're going to start doing, we're going to start getting in some of these teachings and learning about the doctrine and philosophy of these church fathers. I know y'all familiar with Jerome, Clement, Aquinas, Guanello, all these different philosophers, church fathers, Hippo, Tertullian, you know, who? St. Augustine, yes. Oh yeah, five. He was also a historian, but a lot of them historians and philosophers, historians, yeah.
Was you know what, Maureen? Though it's because people stay in a box.
Yeah.
They don't think that in order to understand Torah, you have to go outside of Torah. You have to understand the other cultures and how it affected Israel. Because Israel did not stay in a bubble in Jerusalem, and we were like just in a bubble, and no other cultures came across our path. That's not what happened.
That's not what happened.
You have to understand went on, how did other people and cultures affect us as a people. And I come across a lot of people, we're doing the King James, just the King James Version, and we're just doing the Old Testament. Okay, yeah, but there's other writings out there that support Torah and the history that went on with Israel. If you don't do that and you stay in that bubble, a person like James White will destroy you.
Will destroy you.
You won't be able to defend yourself at all.
Right, because you have to understand the backdrop of what was going on within the Qumran community. But y'all know, think about this, and I know I got to sit down, y'all, but this is very important. Think about this. You ever notice during the time of the Mashiach how he gave a message, but he spoke to people in parables? But the people that were meant to hear the message, you notice that they would come back to him and ask him, what did he mean?
What did he mean? Yep.
But you notice most time they met out on ships and outside of Jerusalem in communities. Why?
Because that's where people are hungry and they
That's right. Because that was something going on in Jerusalem. But every time he brought a message in Jerusalem, what did he have to do? Did he not have to flee for his life?
Yep.
He had to disappear from amongst them. That's why the people say this man causes many to believe and follow. He said he's going to cause us to lose our position with the Romans. So the Torah keepers, they stay outside of the community, outside of Jerusalem, or they would go out on ships and be taught. Because inside of Jerusalem, you had a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Because inside Jerusalem is where you did your shopping and the politics and you paid your taxes.
And Rome had bought some agents with Israelite blood that were reporting back to the Romans, who Rome was ruling through them. You know, to stop prevent an insurrection, what do?
You put your people out.
You put your people, and you buy some people of that particular clan or group.
That's going on right
Like
now.
Sheriff David Clark. Is that his name in Wisconsin? That foolish.
That's what's going on in these riots. You know, these marches, they're doing same thing, no different.
Yep.
Well, they don't have no organization.
No,
They just marching.
No, they're marching, but they got sales in the march to keep the riot keep going. There's people in there.
yeah.
But,
That's like when if anybody observed the Republican Party convention, it's all about emotionalism. It's all about saying keywords to rile the people up and say, yes, we're going to go for that, and this is true. But it's all about fallacy. It's a deception. Because you can't say the present government is that bad that you're going to come in and do something totally different. No, you're deceiving.
And we want to keep in mind, and also think about the strength and the strong points that we have, even within the congregation. There are so many of us. That's a good point that Akoti brought up about how Kasadabat teaches her, you know, how to dismantle and how to put a gun back together, all this stuff. And Zakan is skilled with this stuff. I mean, with weaponry, aren't you? And so, we're not talking about fighting no nation, y'all. Don't think that. We're talking about protecting our home and our resources that we have to sustain us and our families. That's all. You're not fixing to start no war and try to fight no. You can't do nothing, no army.
Because of the truth of the matter, the other nations, nations are doing it. Their young children, 4 or 5 years old,
Yep.
now got to handle, what is it, weaponry and archery and
You know,
arrow.
y'all, you'll be shooting a gun pop, you jumping, it's like, you ain't hold the gun like you're supposed to, because you know you shoot a gun, that thing will come back and knock all your teeth
That's
out.
right.
It has recoil.
Definitely, when we lived in Pennsylvania, and we used to go to the shooting range up there, you had 8-year-olds, they would take those rifles apart, put them back together and shoot, and they would hit their target every single time. 8-year-olds.
You have to see some of those women, Gentile women with those AR-15s and those AK-47 assault rifles and stuff. I'm talking about automatic, I mean just, like it's a part of their anatomy. It's built onto them. I mean, shoot with ease. Because they play in the, matter of fact, you remember that one guy they had on the news? How he had all of those 55-gallon drums buried in his yard? With all those different rifles in them? One family, they had over 100 and something rifles and stuff buried in 55-gallon drums on the land. And they had like 20 years worth of food prepped and stuff. Because they know something coming. When you hear these people talking about building underground bunkers and stuff that they've been doing for I don't know how long now, we be the one in the dark. Because nothing matters to us until it's too late. But at this time, we're going to close out here. We'll continue discussing while we eat. And at this time, we're going to bring on our Akoti Shoshana. She's going to give us our announcement.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Aka, Zohara, Yim Tobin, Akotis and Akis. These are the announcements for July 23rd, 2016. Class starts at 3 o'clock p.m. every Shabbat. Class time will be 1 hour and 15 minutes. Hold all questions until class is over.
What time is the class starting? After, class will now be starting at 1.
Okay.
We're gonna go back to our regular time at 1.
Okay. And Bibakasha, vibrate all cell phones, electronic gadgets before you come into the classroom because it interrupts with the recording of the session. Please.
Not everybody follows the rules.
Give all tithes and offerings and donations to Akote Shammai or Akote Shaya. She's not here today. Okay. Moreh Lamadahu will be coming down July 24th, which is tomorrow, for the immersion. Hallelujah! Women, please wear the proper attire for the immersion. The attire is all white for the immersion, and that's for all. Go ahead.
Although everyone doesn't have to wear, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone doesn't have to wear white, just the ones that are being immersed. Because after they're immersed, they're going to change their clothes anyway.
Okay. All right. The last 4 dates of the year is September 8th, the entire Sunday. That's the blowing of the trumpets. 10 days later, on September 28th, all day Wednesday, sun up to sundown. Day of Atonement. No eating. We are fasting for this day. October 3rd through the 9th for 7 days. It starts on a Monday. That's the Feast of Tabernacles. The attire is all white. The Great Day, October 10th, is on a Monday, which follows the Feast of Tabernacles. No food will be prepared. Akoti Haviva makes tunics for men and dresses for women, as well as fringes for those who are interested in the apparel for the Feast of Yahuwah. Akoti Brielle makes fringes for women and men's garments as well. The Sefer Bibles are still available. There's no cutoff time for the price of $47.50, with a minimum of 4 books per order to get that price of $47.50 and $10 shipping. If anyone is interested, please see Aki Yahuran. Okay, all announcements are to be submitted to me by Thursday midnight, Sister Shoshana. All newcomers, please see Akoti Korah or Akoti Shaya. It is very important that we get your contact information so that we can keep you updated on all the festivals and the events of Yahuwah. Okay, those who are following the calendar class that Moreh Lamadahu is doing, you will find the notes for part 3 on the website to follow his classes. There will be a short meeting for the Akotis after class. And my acknowledgement still, continue to pray for Akote Aldessa. And that's it for the announcements. Toda.
So for the immersion, are we gonna, because I know we made a change about 3 o'clock to start. At 1 o'clock, we're gonna have the people we hear that's going over, and then the people that wanna drive straight there, they just being there by 2.
Oh no, we're still gonna meet here for the thing tomorrow at 3.
So doesn't the immersion start at 3 up there?
We'll meet here at 3 to drive up there.
So those that don't wanna come here, we just want, we live closer to the park, just to go straight there. What time should we be at the park?
Well, you can be at the park at any time.
So when
Just
will
give us
the start?
but that's the thing, I guess we were gonna start around 4 because it takes about 45 minutes to get up there.
So that's kind of different from what we had last week, so I just need to send that out.
Okay.
Because we had Shia and Sadiq, when the sisters met, we were saying that it was going to start at 3 up there.
We're gonna meet at 3.
Okay.
But I don't know why Shai said that, because she know we're gonna meet here at 3, caravan from him at 3. Didn't we say we're gonna meet at 3 and caravan and all go together? I I know, I said that several times.
That's up.
Every service, I said, we're gonna meet here at 3, we're gonna all caravan from here and go there together.
I thought you was gonna go there 1 o'clock and save a spot.
No, we don't have to save a spot.
We don't?
Okay.
Okay.
What would we save a spot for? To get
No, I
immersion?
thought you were gonna go to the holy spot.
The immersion spot or the picnic spot?
The picnic spot.
I paid
Yeah,
almost
you paid for
$100 to
that.
preserve that.
Okay, well,
We ain't saving nothing. You'd have to,
Oh, okay.
we can have a pavilion with power and grill and everything.
Oh.
Is that what we was?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know y'all thought I was gonna take a chance, go out there and be standing around waiting for somebody to leave. We have a pavilion, a parking
Yeah, that's-
area, and grill with power, and we cover everything.
Covering everything.
Yes.
Okay.
So you asking everybody to meet here at 3?
We're gonna
all
caravan.
together up there.
We're gonna go to the immersion spot, and then go to whoever. Somebody gonna need to be up there where the food is. Somebody that's not getting immersed.
Was it? Oh, you mean while we're getting ready?
Yeah, while we're getting immersed, yeah. Or somebody will need to get immersed first so they can leave and go to the spot there. Because we have that spot from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
So the spot we're getting merged is not in the same location where the food is being served?
It's kind of in the same vicinity, somewhere probably around a 5-minute drive or so. Because all of that stuff is together. You got the, cause everything is on the river, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you're in that one area. Because it's all a part of the same park or what have you. But now, we're right beside the river, because where we're sitting at, you can walk down into the river. But the thing is, they have a sign that says no swimming, and I don't know if we won't be swimming, but we will be immersed, and I don't know if that'll get us in trouble. But the area we're going to, I know some of y'all, Judah loves to break the law, so because I can. Shema.
So, what time are we leaving the park? Like we're all carrying back to the.
You can leave whenever you get, whenever you feel like you have enough sun and.
Starts
Yeah.
raining.
You leave at any time.
And we can get immersed there with no problem? Because I thought there was no swimming. We're not swimming, but I thought.
But the area that I have, we normally go, you can get immersed there.
Okay.
But right there by the day use area where we have the pavilion, they have no swimming signs there.
Oh, okay.
Because I think sometimes boats come through there, what have you.
Oh.
Okay, and also remember, we have to get an offering too. You remember Lamar who was coming out? Remember Casadabar talked about, getting the offerings on cars. I don't think people understand when y'all see Maury Lamar Hugh traveling all over the place, he's not being paid to go to these places. He's doing a lot of that out of his pocket. Mostly all of it out of his pocket. And so that's why I'm more reconciled about saying, we want to be mindful of that and make sure we get an offering today and so we'll be able to compensate him, show appreciation for him doing this. Because, he's been over to Japan to do immersion. He's been where? Many sort of places, huh?
California.
Israel, California, everywhere.
Hawaii. Is there still 60 people coming about?
Yeah, about 40 getting immersed or close to 40.
40?
40?
30 something, right at 40.
Wow.
Yep. So you want to ask everybody, keep all the announcements in mind and just remember to start just putting our minds together and let's start planning some stuff, y'all. We just can't just continue sitting around. Don't you know if Elder back there got all these skills? We need to be learning these things. Y'all saw how that boy was able to walk up in that church and kill all the folk.
Yes.
because we have to be careful here though, because I didn't know until the other day that they have a no gun premises policy.
Here at this church?
So you just have to be more discreet with, you know what I'm saying? They gonna say, I don't get what they got. Yeah. That's why a lot of Israelite congregations, they have people at the door. They guard their congregation, and you just not supposed to walk in there. They're gonna frisk and everything for you to come in there. They're gonna get driver license, your ID and everything. Anywhere it should be, because we have to protect our own. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind, and let's continue to pray for each other and hold each other up in prayer, and continue to pray for the strength of our leader, Morey Lamayu, Morey Kasadaba, and just pray that the Most High really baruch him and give him a favorable schedule. Well, let me tell y'all something. In this system, we have to do until the Most High, bring about that change. Like TJ, we have to fake it till we make it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So let's keep praying for our leaders and all, and just continue to hold each other up in prayer. And at this time, we'd like to recognize, I think this is your first time being here, Coach. We're going to yield the floor and let you have words, introduce yourself, what have you. We thank you. Come on, let's give her a hand for being
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm from Lamanalahu
okay, then.
Congregation, and I'm here for my sister, my cousin, Danielle.
Okay.
For her emotion to support her. Hallelujah. I am a student of his congregation, and I'm just loved your teaching.
Thank you.
Love your teaching, and praises to y'all.
Praise.
Yes, I kept looking at you. I said, I've seen this face before, and I just didn't remember where.
What is your name?
Susan.
Maya, whose house?
There's so many people. And that was,
I think it was last year or the year before last. We've been there a few times.
I vaguely remember, yes. I know I remember that face. I don't forget faces too much. Names I have struggled with. But I'm thankful to be here. I truly am. I'll be leaving shortly after
Okay.
like at 8 o'clock. But I wish I could have stayed longer. But the Father had me here for a specific reason. You know, He always assigns assignments for you, and you're not sure why you're going, but other than face value. And so there was a family that I encountered in Yashra'al when we were there. And as I was coming, I remembered that she lives here in Atlanta. And I called her yesterday morning and said, I'm going to be in Atlanta. And she got so excited. We were texting, just texting, and through the texting, it was like we were on the phone, and you can discern the excitement through the texts. And I had a hotel reserved. Ended up at her house. That's where I've been, and with her family, and it has been oh my goodness.
Hallelujah.
And to be used by the Father is one thing. To be blessed by Him is another. You know, and the sharing with her 3 children, her 3 girls that were present there. There's another daughter that's coming today that I will get to meet, but to see how the Father is already grooming us and preparing us for the work at hand, even at a young age. Her children, the youngest, I believe, is 9. And 9, right? Yeah. And the gifts that are operating in them already, I mean, I could see it so clear. And oh my goodness, it's just wonderful to see. It's just really wonderful to see, because when you know what's out there and what we have to do and how to reach the masses, and how the Father's already preparing us to reach those masses, and for us to be stripped of our heritage all these years, and here we got to learn our own language. language, you know, that hurts.
Yeah.
That truly hurts. I'm 61 years old, and I have to learn the Hebrew language. That hurts. That hurts. That's my heritage. You know, when they talk about learning, go through, what's that system they got to learn where you come from? No. Ancestral. Yeah. I said, all I have to do is open up the Tanakh.
That's all you gotta do. Open it up.
And know where I came from. Know where my heritage is. And and just to know that I was blessed by it.
Yeah.
Just blessed by that. I was like, I'm trying to find out where they come from. All I have to do is open the
No, you gotta do open the book.
This is where I come from. I'm just blessed. Blessed to be here.
All right.
We thank the Most High for those words, and ask that you continue to hold our Koti in prayer. She travels back home, returns back home. Pray that the Most High Yahuwah cover and keep his head of protection around and everything. We thank you for being a part of the class with us today, Koti. And at this time, we're going to stand and we are going to pray out and pray over the food. We're going to ask our brother, Zachariah, to pray us out and pray over the food. He had that I want to pray look on his face.
Our Father, in the name of Yahuwah, thank you for the Sabbath. Thank you for those that was here today. Thank you for our visitors today. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom shall come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. But lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. In Yahuwah's name, in the name of your Son, Yahusha. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.